Hello everyone, I welcome you to another episode with me of Learn with Your Coach. Our today's topic is about what are you tolerating? In short, what are you putting up with? I chose this topic, I picked up particularly a small simple term called tolerate or toleration. Reason being, there are many things in our life on a day-to-day basis which we tolerate. Oftentimes we are not even aware, but there are like a lot of baggage that we carry from our past. There's a lot that we keep on adding to it, and there's a lot that we are. Uh, it's all cluttered in our head. We might just experience a lot of stress and even frustration, annoyance, anger. We could be one of those who are not responding, rather reacting. And most of the time, if you really sit back and try to analyze the root cause of it, we would, the one insight it direct us, all of us, to is that number of things that we're really putting up with in our life. So even though the other part of it is to be resilient, be patient, and all of those, but yet knowing what we tolerate, having that awareness really is one step, a major step that can help you and take away from you a lot of stress. And that is what you're going to learn with me along in this session. So just don't go on this word, which is quite simple, but it has a profound effect if you really know what we're tolerating. Moving ahead, how this insights, when I say insight, is about how toleration can, knowing what we're tolerating can help us. As I mentioned earlier, it creates awareness because most of the time, unconsciously and consciously, whatever we are putting up with, it's always in our head, and sometimes we even lose track of it, and sometimes we try to, or maybe enter into a zone where we are like just used to it now. So I'm like, yeah, it's always been there and I'm used to it. So once you list it down, you will move away from this vicious circle of that I'm used to it and it's okay, but I'm putting up with a lot of stress. Instead, what you could do is first listing down your toleration brings in awareness, then it also helps take action. So the second insight that you would get when you know what you're tolerating is that you would know what you really need to do with what you're tolerating beyond the toleration that you're already into it. And third, more important thing that you could ask yourself here is that is it really worth it? Because if there are things in your life which you are tolerating, are in a way cluttering your mind, draining your energy, or really slowing you down. So you really need to think, pause, and reflect. And it all begins with awareness. And awareness comes when we sit down and make a list of it and introspect. So grab yourself a pen and a paper and let's list it down. All of it, whatever you have in your head. Take the most recent cases of what you're tolerating today. Not necessarily you go back in the past, but a simple list of 7, 5, 10, as many as you want. Just try to list down everything that you're tolerating. It could be anything and from any aspect of your lives. It could be in your relations, it could be at work, it could be at with your children, with your household work, even with your own self, what you are tolerating. So just go ahead and do it. Take some time out and do it. And once you are ready with the list, I want to share with you here is an example. So while you are thinking and trying to list your tolerations down, here I present to you an example. I just pulled out this while I was creating this particular session of the things that I am tolerating as your coach. So just to give you a glimpse of it, I mean, I just took the recent 1 week, I just thought through on what I'm really tolerating, and here is what I got, the 5 things. One is about the weather. It's raining really heavy here in Hyderabad, India, every single day, but yet it's still hot and humid, which I just don't like. Then I have a course that I really need to complete, but I've been procrastinating it for a while, and I'm not really happy with myself. So this is something that I'm tolerating with my own self. I have a next door neighbor who prefer devotional music on loudspeakers actually. So even though I can't do much about it, I'm just tolerating him. And then there's a habit, again, this is to do with my own self, trying to wake up real early, but I'm not being able to. So working on it, and then my untidy wardrobe. Even though I'm not a very disorganized person, but at times you get so much caught up with your family stuff that you don't have time for yourself. So these are my list. I'm just sharing with you as an example. You can make your own. So as I said, what insights we get when you make a list. So now if you have the list with you in front of you, and it could be anything, and you can do this exercise not necessarily now, but maybe even after 6 months, or sometimes when you really feel you're weighed down by a lot of things, or you're trying to you're getting reactive, or you're getting really angry, or at times you feel there's so much you have to do and you feel a bit overwhelmed. So when you start to get these feelings of not things in control, and you being little um, your feelings are little out of control and you're reacting to things, I think that's the time where you really need to sit down, make a list, and start doing this exercise. It's very simple. So, as I mentioned in my previous slide, the first insight when you make a list of your tolerations, it tells you, it gives you an awareness of what exactly it is. There could be things which can be even for a long, long time you're tolerating. So put it down there, put it on that list. And there could be things which are just recently. It could be small thing like a weather which is beyond my control, but I'm putting up with it. Or it could be something very serious. Whatever it is, just list it down. The list gives you awareness of what is it and for how long it has been. The next thing you get here to do is the action part of it. Once you have your list, think what you will be doing with everything that you're tolerating as on date, beyond the toleration part of it. Is it something that you can ignore, or is it something that you should uh, kind of keep it for future, or some timeline set that okay, on this particular date, by this, or by end of this month, by end of these 3 months, I am going to do something about it. So give a call to action there, set a timeline, think what needs to be done. If nothing, just choose to drop it, trash it, throw it away. And the most important part here is about also understanding from the list that you're tolerating, is it really worth it? I mean, there could be things on your list where you should ask yourself whether it's cluttering your mind, it's draining your energy, or slowing you down, even beyond slowing you down. There could be things which you need to ask your own self, is it really worth it clinging on to it, holding it, and putting up with it? Can there not be an action where I can just trash it and get rid of it altogether? Because this is the first step of you connecting with your inner self and moving ahead towards a more positive mindset, a frame of mind, and your well-being. You will thank yourself later on as to how much of the burden that you've removed from your head by doing this small, tiny exercise, which is very, very effective. So think over it. Uh, Back to my examples, with the insights that you just saw in the previous slides, if I were to check for each of these 5 items, I would say for weather part, it's beyond my control. And if I ask this question, what I need to do next, I think the best answer would be to ignore it. On my decision on taking that course, I think my call to action should be to work on it, set a timeline, enroll, and finish it off. On my neighbor, I can't do much, so I should ignore it. And on these last two of it, again, look at each and every item that I'm seeing on my toleration list. Somewhere it tells me that how long, and it also tells me what I can do next. So using the same principle, do that for yourself so that you know what can be trashed out, really thrown away, and what can be made to the best use. That's it for today. Thank you so much. I hope this exercise, a very simple one, but it has real profound effects. So try to take some time out, make your list of what you're tolerating today, work on it, get these insights, and think, is it really worth it what you're tolerating? Because what you choose for yourself really define your well-being. So be more self-aware so that you move towards personal growth and development. Thank you so much for being my audience. Here's my email address and phone contact details in case you want to speak up with me, get coached. You have there's one more link I've given in the description box below. You could check there, and it also has a link to our website where you can gather more details. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon with coming to you with another interesting session. So stay tuned.